Welcome to this afternoon's meeting of the Nashua Board of Education's Human Resources Committee at the Nashua High School Boardroom. Today is July 15th at 4:02.
Oh, that's interesting. My agenda says June 24.
And I am calling this meeting to order. I will begin with a roll call for attendance.
I'm sorry, I missed what time it was.
4:02.
4:02 p.m. Okay, Ms. Giglio?
Here.
Ms. Raymond is here. Mr. Johnson is here. We also have Dr. Andrade. Oh, good luck to anybody reading these notes later. We don't have a template this evening, so I'm kind of making it up as I go along based on my agenda. Mr. Posca and Mr. Rouse.
Okay. So we're meeting tonight to discuss the job description of the assistant superintendent. We've all received an email containing the most recent proposed job descriptions, and so I think we probably need to open it up for questions.
So I just want to say that I appreciate some of the updates on the grammar under the leadership part. I think previously that first sentence was kind of a run-on mess. And so for a professional position of this level, I appreciate that it has been rewritten to be concise and make sense. So I liked that.
In a busy day, no questions.
I'm sure it has. I do have a question near the end where it talks about supervises and evaluates 21st century. Does this person also, the elementary person, also supervise the schools that have the Adult Learning Center running the after-school programs or not?
Not really. The Adult Learning Center is an outside agency. It's the same as the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA if they were renting out spaces. So, but it is working with the elementary principals to who's in the building and in that aspect of it. So there is a tight partnership, but it's not a direct supervision.
Okay. I just wondered because I've actually had the pleasure of being in schools with both. So, okay.
No, we're very fortunate to have a great community where we have a plethora of resources for our kids.
So I had a couple of questions because the proposed changes that you gave us have both the assistant superintendent for elementary on one side and for secondary on the other. And so my question is on that same page, page 3. We've taken out the bullet point regarding state and federal grants on both of them. And then for the elementary, we've reworded it, but it's essentially the same responsibility, the coordination and oversight of the grants. But there isn't that added back in on the secondary one, on the secondary assistant superintendent. And then the other question is, professional development is now on the secondary, but is not on the elementary. And so my question is, would that make the elementary assistant superintendent responsible for overseeing like CTE grants, or is there another person that does that? And then same thing with PD. Does that make the secondary assistant superintendent responsible for professional development at the elementary level?
So it's more about who's the lead, because sometimes it's going back and forth, and especially with the federal and state grants. You can see in the secondary, there's a work in conjunction with, but when you're putting down who's the key person to contact, so we're identifying the elementary assistant superintendent as the key contact. Most of the federal grants, quite honestly, Title I, Title II, Title III, are mostly elementary. And then, as you said, Perkins or CTE is the one at the high school, which the assistant superintendent for secondary would be working with the CTE director.
Right.
But really, collaborating, but the key person on making sure for grant monitoring and the point of contact will be the elementary person. So we just want to make it clear, but on the, conversely, on the secondary side, I'm expecting them to work collaboratively, but who at the end of the day is, is sending it off to me or answering questions from the state would be the elementary. And then same thing for, say, the PDMP would go through the secondary assistant superintendent, but working in conjunction with the elementary. So in the past, it just wasn't clear, like when it's in both places, who's responsible at the end of the day. So we just wanted to break it out a little bit, but you'll see some of the new words about working in conjunction, collaborative in that aspect. But we just really wanted a point person.
Okay, so talking about professional development, what is the expectation of how that collaboration would work? Because I'm thinking, for example, our elementary school curriculum is so vastly different than what we see at the high school. Like, so if we have staff in the district who have an idea for professional development, would they go go to their principal and to the assistant superintendent and, that way? And then it would come down to the secondary assistant superintendent to make the call about presenting it or whatever? Or would it go directly to the assistant?
No, it still should
Secondary,
be,
does that make
it still
sense?
should be building based and kind of trickle its way up to our offices. But even, again, that collaborative aspect of it, so it's what's our needs assessment, what does our data tell us? And then really, again, at the end of the day, it's when we have our professional development master plan, like that's where everything's going to be housed, or what's our calendar of professional development. I would see the secondary person putting that calendar together, but the elementary person still going to be working with some vendors and that aspect of it. But at the end of the day, who's that point of contact for a calendar, PVR request or anything like that would go to the secondary person. But it still comes up from teacher to building to the district to make sure that we have a cohesive plan.
Right. So the process isn't really changing.
No. But if there's a question around the PDMP, who do I call? It would be the secondary person as opposed to the elementary.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Any other question? Any other questions?
No, my only other question was on the bottom of the last page. There's like that disclaimer, like this is including but not limited to.
Yeah.
That goes on both. I assumed because it wasn't in boxes on each one. Okay.
And the other aspect that is new is the community relations, to making sure that we're all working with our community and representing the district, and again, that public-facing role of this position.
What do you see that entailing? Like, is it just going to like Nashua back to school night, or do you see it being bigger than that?
Yeah, I mean, Matt can speak of like kind of his schedule or at the elementaries, but whether there's community concerts or school concerts, or if I'm not able to attend, maybe it's at our Rotary or some other aspects where, again, that it was our assistant superintendents were doing that, but again, I don't think it was detailed. We're putting out our vision of we want to be working hand in hand with the community. So I think it's more than the back to school. It's just we know that we serve the public, and that as an assistant superintendent, we need to be public facing as well.
It's a good idea. I know I used to be on the Nashua Continuum of Care group back when I worked for CASA. Gosh, so this was 8 years ago. But at one point, they did have somebody from the school district attending those meetings so that they could talk to other people providing resources for kids and homeless people. And
it was, and not to say it's not happening, it's just, it wasn't memorialized in the job description. Again, clear in our expectations that, it's more than, writing curriculum or, doing PD or grants. It's, we should be out in the community talking to our community partners and being involved as well.
I think that's great, especially as we have a special meeting on Thursday to talk about partnering with the city about the city's vision of how Nashua is developing. To have, somebody from district office making those connections, I think is just good for everybody.
Anything else? Yeah.
Would the elementary person have any, with the community relations aspect, have any communication with the PTOs at the elementary schools?
Yeah, in the past, I think that's a great question. In the past, Director of Communications was the one kind of working with the PTOs, but I think this could be one that, again, whether it's working with PTOs around professional development, these are math curriculum, our ELA curriculum, our science curriculum, and working with coaches, but hearing from the PTO of what they need. So, again, I think it's not going to be a million, bullets underneath there, but as we're, transforming the school district, I think the elementary assistant superintendent or the secondary assistant superintendent should be working with our parents on what they need and outreach in that regard.
If I could just follow up, I think it also speaks to, Dr. Andre's vision and discussion about the director of communications and what's our story. So I think this community relations pieces allows us another opportunity to continue to tell our story to a variety of different people. It just doesn't rely on one person, but it's a collaborative team effort to get that voice and that story out to the public.
I'm curious about what kind of motions we need tonight. Do you need a separate motion for each of the 2 job descriptions?
No, I think it's just when we, if ever we need to, Mr. Balso just put it into our format, but this was the old policy as accepted.
Right.
So I think we just need to accept the updated version. I don't think we need 2 separate motions.
Okay.
So in that case, I am looking for a motion.
So the motion is to approve the Nashua School District Assistant Superintendent's job descriptions. Let me write it down.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, motion passes. Are there any other items that we need to discuss tonight? I just had one question, since the public can be watching this, about Thursday night's meeting at the McCarthy Middle School. Is there a specific area in the school that people should head to for that meeting? It's a large building.
So if they walk into the front door, so if they go up the Antonio Drive, drive around to the front of the building, walk through the front door, the meeting will be immediately in front of you. Can't miss it. It'll be in the cafeteria.
Okay, great, thank you. So it'll be in the cafeteria. If there's nothing,
I do. I have an HR related question. So what's the plan for summer hiring? Are we summer hiring? Are you looking to have special meetings or to present things at our next full board meeting? Or will there be kind of like one, mega meeting or mega hiring approval process? I don't know.
Mr. Bowes speak to it, but I think we'll have a number of names for you on Monday night.
Oh, wow, that soon.
Yep, we do have a list of names that we'll have on Monday night. Yep.
that's great.
And then whenever the next meeting is, we'll have another list, which will probably be towards closer to the beginning of school. My guess, middle to end of August will be the next meeting after that. And then that hopefully will be either the last set of names or the board after that should be the last set of names.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're actually in pretty good shape right now with our summer hiring.
Great. And so is everything on the website? Like if anyone just graduated or, recently moved to New Hampshire and they're looking for a job, everything's up?
Yep, everything's up as of all of the PAFs have been processed as of Friday.
All right.
That's great. Work.
Thank you.
If there is nothing else, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Aaron.
Second?
Sorry, I can't
That's
do
okay.
2 things. And what time is it?
Or 16?
Oh, you didn't say all in favor.
Oh, yeah, all in favor.
I
Interrupted.
I did. I was busy writing. I'm trying to remember what all the blanks are on the sheet.
It's probably